Okay, so somebody asked me to describe the problem, or what I mean when I say failing. So I figured I'd do a very quick video, hopefully very quick, to demonstrate exactly what's happening. So I'm going to quickly walk through my code and explain basically very quickly what I have. I've got a whole mess of global variables. Note I'm using the string object, which I know is generally frowned upon. For now, my mind is I'm more of a PHP/Java developer, and my mind is not so used to working with sort of more primitive objects. So for now, I'm using string, though if somebody tells me my problem is that I'm using the string class, then I will certainly work around that and switch over to using character arrays or whatever. Anyway, okay, so a bunch of global variables. Set up bridge, set up console, wait for the console, set up pins. Then I start the loop. Check, this doesn't really matter, but I'm using this capacitive capsense library to check some capacitive sensors. If they're set or if they're touched, whatever, I do a couple things. Again, doesn't really matter. Here is where I'm the button state. It's a bad name, bad variable name, but basically this is if somebody actually starts pressing the Morse code key, then we start going in this loop and we start recording the presses and time them until there is a pause of a predefined pause to send length. This doesn't really matter there either, because the part that I'm most interested in, or the part that's really causing me problems right now, is this part. Basically, every 500 milliseconds or half a second, I use bridge to get this key, and I set it in this value. Again, this is a global variable value. It's a character array of size 1000. And then I convert that to a string object, just so that I can do things like toPlay.length and so forth. The character array is 1000 in length and size, but it's possible that the message is 200 characters or 300 characters or 1 character. So string takes care of that for me, and I don't have to worry about any of the character array stuff that I was talking about earlier. So anyway, if there's something there, if the length is greater than 0, then for now I'm printing out how much free memory there is. I'm using this free memory library. I forget what it's called, but it seems popular. I'm printing out the message that came over, and then I'm calling this play method, play method, I guess, play function, play method, and I'm passing this playback multiplier, which is just a simple integer, which indicates basically how quickly or what the pause should be between presses. So, okay, so that's what it is. Now I'm going to actually upload this, I hope, and run it. So we're uploading over Wi-Fi, so unfortunately it takes an extra tiny bit of time. Meanwhile, this is the web application I built. Again, it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to log in. Okay, and basically the way this works is when I create a new message, the Linux side of the Yun will pick up. Let me open up the serial monitor. The Linux side has a cron job running, and basically every minute it checks for new messages by running a Python script. And I'm trying to offload a lot of the sort of the heavier lifting, the server stuff, if you will, the authentication, because I use like a basic poor man's HMAC authentication system, and so it's a little much to try to handle with an Arduino, which is why I thought the Yun would be perfect. Anyway, so that's what happens. Then the Python script uses, again, the bridge library on the Python side to actually put the message that came through into this key value pair. So we are going to see that happening in a second. So if I do k space k, send the message on the Arduino side, and to speed this along, again, I don't have the cron job down quite to a science. Oh, there it goes, actually. We're good. So great. So you can see free memory, 778 bytes, I guess. Here's the message that came over. So these are basically just a simple encoding of up, then the time, down, time. It doesn't really matter so much. Again, it's kind of outside the scope. Though certainly I can optimize this a little bit better. I can compress this. You can see A, B repeats every other character. That's obviously, I could easily reduce that to half its size. But again, for now it doesn't really matter because I still have the problem. That's just going to help me push the problem out a bit. The important thing here to look at is that we have 778 bytes of free memory, and the second free memory output is happening in my actual play. So this is the method that's called, and you can see right when I enter this, I print out this free memory again. So this is good. What just happened is exactly what we want to happen. Now what's going to happen next is not good, which is I'm going to do awesome, awesome. So if I do awesome, awesome, this should also work actually. These lines, just so you know, are the actual playback, so give you sort of a visual idea. Okay. So this time I am going to speed things along. Python, Arduino, seems to happen sometimes, by the way. Python, Arduino, cut. So there's actually a 10-second delay. But, okay, here we go. So I just picked up the message. You can see it's a lot longer now because there's a lot more letters. And so a lot more dits and das. But the interesting thing here is there is 774 bytes free here, and here there's 590, which makes sense. It's a longer message, there's more characters, it's a longer string, so that makes sense. That's fine. Now, what doesn't make sense to me, and notice we only lost around, let's say, 200 bytes size-wise. Now, the weird thing that happens is if I do awesome, 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 which is not that much larger, certainly not even an order of magnitude. If I now, again, run this script, what's going to happen eventually, well, one of two things may happen. It may never actually run at all. It may not. That occasionally happens. And that seems like it may be the case, actually. Yeah, so it's never picked up. So if I go back here, awesome, 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 the smiley face indicates that the message has been picked up, which means basically that on the Python side, the Python script picked this up, marked the message as having been read, and then sent it over to the Arduino using, again, the bridge on the Python side. But it seems to have failed on the Arduino side because, again, you can see now nothing was printed out, it never came back, and even though the message wasn't that much larger, just those extra however many characters, let's say another, well, yeah, not many, not that much larger, it failed. So that's the problem. It does seem like a memory issue just because it seems to be what I would maybe expect to have happen with a low memory situation, it to sort of flake out and act strangely. That said, again, it doesn't exactly make sense, assuming that these values are real, you know. At the very least, even if later on, maybe somewhere in the play method, we ran out of memory, I don't know, because I'm further parsing these strings or something, it still doesn't, to me, make sense that it wouldn't have at least gotten to this console print, before it failed, but doesn't seem to be the case. So I'll send one more message, which I think should work. No, sometimes it doesn't. So if it doesn't, then maybe that will be another indicator that something more serious is going on. At this point, the message has been picked up, which means it definitely should by this point have been added to bridge. But obviously, it's not getting to this point. Okay, that's pretty much it. So one last thing I guess I could show is that, just one more time just to make sure. The last thing I'm going to do, though, just for the purposes of hopefully further explaining the problem, is I'm going to actually I'm going to re-upload this the sketch, and I'm going to run the exact same. I'm going to send the exact same data over twice, and that's only to show that it doesn't seem like we don't have any memory leaks as far as I can tell. Okay, yeah. So this isn't coming back. It seems to be doing something that we don't want it to be doing, but it's not coming back. So that is a bad thing. So again, I'm going to upload the sketch. Still uploading. Okay. Now it actually takes a second for the... Okay. So we're in order. Now we just have to create a new message. We'll do awesome. It looks like it's already been picked up. And sure enough, it has. So free memory, 710 kilobytes, or rather bytes, kilobytes I wish, 706 after going into the play method. Send the same message. And again, just to speed things up. There you go. So again, 710 bytes, 706 bytes. So it seems to be reliable. It seems to be working reasonably reliably, except for the going over that edge. So that's pretty much it, I guess. I won't spend any more time. Hopefully that's a pretty good explanation. Thank you for any help.